Next up, we have Philippa Skett. Philippa is the manager of press and communications at the Royal Society of Biology. When she's not tweeting about crabs, she's being bullied into pitching terrible science comedy routine ideas by Matt Allinson because, mate, what's the worst that can happen? She could actually end up on stage delivering it to an audience of people, Matt. That's what could actually end up happening. This is all your fault. I didn't, she wrote that. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Philippa Skett!
Hello, my name's Philippa Skett, and a quick disclaimer before I start. I'm not actually a scientist, as you heard there. I work in comms. I did actually do a degree here at Imperial. I did biology, but I got the lowest percentage you can get before you drop a degree class and become unemployable. So I'm not the most qualified when it comes to science. When it comes to scientific research, it's not ideal either. I once got caught bribing my lab partner to eat Drosophila larvae for a bet. I don't know why I'm here, to be honest. Thanks, Matt. So yeah, I'm not actually a scientist, but I'm actually also going to pitch this in terms of wanting money. Which obviously drives science. And I've never actually done any sort of grant proposal before either. But I'm sure it's very similar to this, you know, audience of hundreds of people, Saturday night, 2 shots of vodka in. Let's see how it goes. So my hypothesis is looking like any good hypothesis to somewhat force together 2 trends in the hope that it solves some sort of global crisis. Scientists nervously giggle there. And the 2 trends I'm looking to address are the depletion of non-renewable energy resources, but also the rise of social media. This comes back to the tweeting crabs thing, because if there's a job in it for me, I'm all for it. So let's look at some statistics first. And these are all real numbers. Computer literacy is growing, which is great. There are currently 2 billion personal computers owned worldwide, and this is only set to increase. More surprisingly, people are also using Twitter more. There are 319 million active Twitter users currently, which equates to around 6,000 tweets per second. Sadly, however, non-renewable resources are depleting, and this is also very real, despite it looking like I just made it on Excel 5 minutes ago. And you can see that something as fundamental as oil may deplete as early as 2052. There's another trend I want to address here, and it's one that I have made up, but I think it's still statistically relevant in this, and that it's people are getting angrier on social media. Here is Sean Spicer, as I'm sure you're all aware, he's the White House press secretary, whom I love because he makes me look good at my job. And you can see that people are getting angrier on social media, and considering the current political landscape, there will be Brexit jokes in this, just warning you, it is only set to get worse. So with this in mind, my hypothesis is looking to bring together these 4 trends and thinking, can we turn angry keyboard warriors on social media into a source of renewable energy? And I think that we can. So let's look at some models, and in specifically this one, the DSI ISO 9241 1994 keyboard model, which I'm sure you're all as related to as I am with this. And this model appears a lot in research to do with office ergonomics and RSI, because that is actually an important field that people look into. And it shows that there is actually only a little amount of energy required to press a key on a keyboard, but people are striking it so much harder than they need to. And you do a bit of complex maths and you find out there's actually a lot of wasted energy there with each keyboard strike. So can we do something with this? And I think that we can. And in fact, researchers are already working on it. And this is legit research as well, showing myself up here. And you can see that researchers not only have developed energy-generating keyboards, but they can do a lot more than just generate their own energy. These ones know who's typing on it based on the pattern of keystrokes. And there are also some being developed, and this is true, keyboards that self-clean. So if there's any Imperial students who know what Central Library's like, imagine having self-cleaning keyboards in there. Or don't, depending on if you know what students do in the Central Library. So what exactly am I asking you to give me money for today? We know the technology's there. We know the maths is pretty sound. It was just a simple subtraction. So what do I need funding for? And the problem is, even with the current social economic trends towards people getting angry on Twitter, with the timeline we're looking at, 2052, people aren't angry enough. So I want to induce these large-scale sociological models that would get people taking to Twitter more often and angrily bashing those keyboards in frustration. So one of the models I'm looking to develop is to get people more annoyed more frequently. We want to introduce these large-scale disturbances that will irritate people quite often, but not enough for them to get used to it. We want to introduce these temporary problems that will get people frustrated and agitated and taking to Twitter to bitch about it. We have a name for this model. It's the temporary upheaval-based exercise or stimulation to reactively increase kinetic expenditure, or tube strike. When I do that the third time, you guys aren't going to find it as funny. So tube strike. Pilot studies have proven to be very effective, as I'm sure you're aware. But they're not quite doing it, and we need more frustration. So we're thinking about pilot studies looking into snow days, traffic jams, particularly emotive episodes of EastEnders. And that's one of the routes we're looking to go down. Another route is introducing topics into the public discourse, topics that are emotive and divisive and get people arguing more frequently. These topics we want to be sustainable. We want them to generate a lot of discussion over months and even years, so we can use them as a sustainable source of renewable energy. These topics, known as, prepare yourself, broadly repercussive and emotionally externally induced topics, or Brexit, will hopefully do just that, cause a lot of controversy online and discussions for years to come. Again, pilot studies into Brexit have proved fruitful, but not fruitful enough. So other ideas we're looking to consider is, for example, which Kardashian sister is the best, should Scotland leave the UK, is Tupac dead, that sort of thing. So that's what we're looking for funding for this model. But the last model that we're looking to put together, and is one that is by far, I think, going to be the most effective, is utilising the social media personalities that are already out there, creating very emotive content for us on a regular basis. So you can see here we've got a whole wide range of people, from journalists to politicians to Dawkins. And they're doing a great job already of posting great content frequently to get people agitated and annoyed. The only problem is they're not doing it enough at current levels. So the obvious answer here is to clone them. So we're looking for funding to put together a comprehensive cloning management program to take care of our celebrity clones and really generate that content that we need to keep our renewable energy sources coming. So this model is called the temperamental, resonating, unstable media personalities, or Trump amplification. And I know what you're thinking. Is she forcing these for laughs? And the answer is yes, I am. But also, will we be cloning Trump? And again, yes, that's what we're looking to do. And I know, it seems a bit weird that I'm asking you for money to produce more Trumps. But we think it could be the answer to the problem of renewable energy source generation. There are many issues with cloning, ethical and moral, that, to do with, is a clone a human? Do they have voting rights? Would you sleep with your own clone, etc.? But there are national security issues as well, which I'm sure you can imagine comes with having 1,000 Trumps running around, because one is bad enough. So we've done some research. We've watched the documentary The Island, which is a great summary of cloning management programs, and they found that if you put clones in a very safe and secure environment where they can learn and thrive and grow, they will eventually become viable enough for what you want them for, which in this case was to harvest their organs and steal their unborn children. It's a great film, by the way. I would recommend watching it. So with what we've learned from that, we've decided a Trump island is what we want funding for, where our Trumps can live and grow and thrive and live in this beautiful, narcissistic, egotistical, racist, and sexist utopia. They won't be doing a lot. They'll be just hanging around, not really saying anything, not really doing anything, playing golf, not that much different from what Trump's doing now. But we're hoping that this will be the great environment to kind of keep them away from the public and keep everyone safe, but also get that energy from them. We'll be introducing the latest VR technology to the island as well, which will induce fake scenarios that our Trumps can get angry about. These scenarios include women in power, equality motions, whether Robert Pattinson will get back with Kirsten Stewart. And we're hoping that these fake scenarios will bring out a lot of content for him to tweet angrily about and generate energy, but then for people to also get angry about in the real world. On a final note, I know one of the things people might be thinking is, well, how will the real world react to Donald Trump tweeting about what is fake news? And the answer is the real Donald Trump's doing this already. He's already commenting on things that haven't actually happened, and people are getting angry regardless. So on that note, thank you for listening. My Western Union details are available on request.